Hey guys, it's Mr. Gramanpri again. I want to show you some cool rocks that are igneous rocks. Now, igneous rocks are very exciting to me because they come from volcanoes sometimes. They always come from lava or magma. Lava and magma are what we mean by that are melted rock. Do you ever have a chocolate bar that got too hot that it melted into a liquid? Well, imagine how hot you'd have to get a rock in order to melt that into a liquid. Really hot. And the only place it's hot enough is the inside of the earth. And so we're talking about below ground gets hot enough to melt any kind of rock. Could be igneous, sedimentary, or metamorphic rocks. All of those rocks, when they get deep enough in the earth, get hot enough and melt into magma. Now, magma is what you call it underground. If it erupts out of a volcano or somehow comes above ground, then we call it lava. Same thing. Both mean melted rock. However, they make rocks that look very different. So let's talk about why. When you've got that magma or lava, it's made up of all sorts of different kinds of minerals. Now, minerals are like us. They like to hang out with their friends. So if you give minerals enough time before they cool down into a solid rock, if they're in lava at least, if you give them enough time, they like to hang out with their friends, and you see big old spots of minerals together. The more time you give them to find each other, the bigger the spots in the rock are going to be. Now, if you look at these rocks, which one of these has got bigger spots of minerals that you can see, which the mineral grains or the crystals? Well, it's this rock right here. You can see the different colors there. And it might be a little hard to see over my webcam, but you can definitely see there's different colors in there, light gray, dark gray, and so on. This is granite. Now, the only place that rocks can take a while, sorry, that magma can take a while to cool down is inside of the earth. All right, inside of the earth, it's warm enough that it takes forever for that magma to cool. Sometimes we're talking about hundreds or thousands of years for it to cool down into solid rock. And so you can see these mineral grains. So by seeing these mineral grains in this rock, I know that it cooled down underground, and it's an igneous rock that where magma underground cooled down into solid rock. This one, on the other hand, well, this one has lots of scratches on it, but mostly it's the same color. Now, this cooled down from the same thing. It's made of the same minerals, but this erupted from a volcano. And it had very little time to cool down because above the earth in the atmosphere where we live, thank goodness it wouldn't melt us, it wouldn't melt rocks. It's much cooler than where there's magma underground. So when this erupts and it comes above ground, cools down so quickly, the minerals don't have enough time to find each other. And so they're all in there, they're just mixed together, and you can't really see the different spots. I mean, you can see the scratches again on here, but you can't really see the different kinds of minerals. Now I'm going to show you some other igneous rocks, and we're going to find out, we're going to look at them to see if we can find out if they cooled above ground, which means they look pretty much the same all the way through, or if they cooled below ground, which means you can start to see the mineral grains in the different colors. Let's start with this one right here. This one is my shiny rock from earlier. Does this look mostly one color or lots of different colors? Can you see different mineral grains in there? I don't see different kinds of mineral grains in here. This one's called obsidian. It almost feels like glass. This is a volcanic rock. It cooled above ground, and you can tell because it doesn't have all those different mineral grains. So that's cooled above ground. Let's take a look at this one. Do you notice there? Do you see different colors? I think you can see the white flecks and the black flecks there. This is a kind of granite, which has all sorts of different crystals, different size, different mineral grains. They're pretty small, but because you see them, you know that it cooled underground from a volcano, or sorry, from underneath a volcano. It's an igneous rock that cooled underground, but the magma cooled down underground. Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a very close look. Now it's got some holes in it, which appear dark on here, but hopefully you can see that this is pretty much the same color all the way through. You can't see different mineral grains. And if you can't see different mineral grains, that means that this must have cooled very quickly into a solid rock. So this must have cooled from lava above ground, which makes it, which tells you that it cooled above ground. So this is an igneous rock that cooled above ground very quickly. One last thing I want to show you, which is really cool. Here are two rocks, and this one's a bigger chunk, but it's, the size doesn't really matter. It's just the size of the rock we broke off. These, if you notice, are both the same color. And they actually, neither one of them have mineral grains. Even though this one here has dark spots, those are holes. This one looks pretty smooth. These are both kinds of basalt. And we know, because we don't see the mineral grains, that this cooled from lava above ground. So this came out of a volcano, but the lava was very different. This came from a boring old normal volcano. But this came from a volcano that had bubbling gases coming out of the rock that were poisonous, and it cooled so quickly that those bubbles were trapped in the rock. Can you see all those little bubbles there? That was volcanic gases that would poison and kill you really quickly. And it got trapped in the rock. That's so cool. We can see little bubbles all through this rock here. Even though it's the same kind of rock as this, it tells us a story about what kind of lava it came from. By the way, these both came from volcanoes in Massachusetts, ancient volcanoes that aren't active today. We'll learn more about volcanoes in a couple weeks. All right, why don't we go ahead and read and learn a little bit more about igneous rocks. Keep going.